He walked in here. He's like, oh, these guys are a bunch of nerds.
Hey guys, Ellie here, former Navy SEAL.
All I did was use the wrong pronoun. Jesus Christ.
I want to bully politicians and reporters again.
His thumbs are starting to atrophy.
You know, the guest on this podcast is the guy who's got both of the jobs we wanted.
Trust me, dude, you didn't want it that bad, dude.
No.
Trust me.
We got it. We're all dialed in. Do we do the saying first or this first, right? 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah.
We starting it off?
I think we're starting it off.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscribed Podcast. I'm joined today by Eli Double Tap, Congressman Eli Crane, almost Congressman Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator. Thank you for joining us here.
I hate it here.
There's too many Eli's already. I'm like,
That's right.
That wasn't confusing.
Confusing.
you
Yeah.
guys are rare. How many people do you run into with that name?
Not a lot.
Fucking
You
rare.
either, do you?
No, God, no. That's why Brandon accidentally texted me.
Are you a Eli or an Elijah?
Eli.
I'm an Elijah, but
Oh,
everybody calls me Eli.
Yeah, and it's my middle name. It's my white name because my dad's very Hispanic. He's yeah, I have a super Mexican name. So I was
Love
like, we'll just call you Eli. It'll make it easy on the white folk around you. I lived in a nice little town. And they're like, they fuck up everything other than Eli. So we just
you
kept
go.
it that.
There you go.
Welcome to the show. You're in for. Did he warn you at all what goes on?
No, I saw some clips online, but yeah, no warnings, dude. So we're just gonna do it live.
Going in dry. Let's do it.
Raw dog this shit. I love it. Give us a brief explanation of yourself, because you're a congressman, Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL.
Yeah, business owner, dad, been married for almost 19 years now.
Dang.
Yeah.
Did you get married in the military?
I did, yeah. My wife was with me the whole time I was in the teams, which is pretty rare.
That's pretty rare.
Yes. Dude, it's
That's
like a
diamond.
95% divorce rate, so she's a pretty awesome lady.
So that's awesome, man.
5% is crazy. Dude, your story, reading everything you've accomplished, and more importantly, you just keep growing and kicking ass. You're like, okay, I've done this thing, became an action guy, and now I'm then business guy, and then to Congress. But I want to rewind too.
Yeah.
And Cody's a fellow Navy man over here.
Yep.
Yeah. What'd you do in the Navy?
I tried to be a SEAL. That didn't work. That didn't work out very well.
Show him the frog tattoo.
Hey, Cody, many of us have tried to become SEALs, dude. I didn't make it on my first try.
Oh, yeah?
No,
what
man.
year did you go through?
So the first year I went through was in 2002.
Okay.
So, Bud's class 242, and then didn't make it through, made it through Hell Week. Got performance dropped after Hell Week, which was pretty brutal. And then went out to the ship for about 2.5 years, the USS Gettysburg. Was a gunner's mate on board there and got an opportunity to come back and make it. So,
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
Bro, after Hell Week, I would have been so pissed.
dude, I was, but you know what, dude? Honestly, I deserved it, and I'm glad that they keep the standard high, dude. I didn't feel that way at the time. I was young and immature, and I was resentful about it. But as I, started looking at it, I'm like, damn, you got what you deserve, man. Come back, be better.
You look at those younger, especially at that age, 18, 19 when you went through initially?
Actually, I was 22 when I went through. So a lot of the young kids that make it through, man, my hat's off to them, because you got to not only be a stud, but you got to be mature. And I wasn't.
Oh, God, no. What age did you get at 25 then? 24?
Yeah, I ended up getting in about 25.
That makes more sense because you're actually developed. God, they started introducing, it never happens, but for 18 X-ray, it's I remember people going in, I'd be like, no one's going to make it out of basic training. I'd be like, you're a Green Beret now, guy.
Right.
These guys are fucking stupid. The dumbest privates. It's automatically send them to 18, Special Forces school. You're just now you're going to have a dropout, immediately.
Right.
SEALs, what was the hardest part of, explain Hell Week to everyone that doesn't know. It's Disneyland pretty much.
Right. Yeah. So it's basically 5.5 days. You only sleep about three hours complete the entire time. You start on usually Sunday night, Sunday afternoon. They call it breakout. And then you go to about Wednesday before you get an 1.5 hour nap. And then you go till Thursday until you get your final 1.5 hour nap. And then you secure on Friday after lunch. But the entire time they're just beating the snot out of you. They're using logs. They're using running with boats on your head. They're using the Pacific Ocean a lot to make
Very
you
warm.
very chilly and keep you right up to the brink of hypothermia. But it's cool because when you look at, you know, the strategy behind it, they can't try and kill you, so they want to put you in as much stress as possible to see if, like, once the bullets actually start flying, if you'll bolt or you'll fold or you'll hang in there and you'll work as a team with your boat crew and your buddies.
The perseverance, and it develops a close bond with with the guys to your left and right, because you're like, fuck, this sucks. They know it sucks.
Yep.
They know it sucks.
Yeah.
Just don't ring the bell.
That's right. And one thing I like about it too is that they have the officers go through with us. Mm-hmm. And so it creates like a camaraderie that I noticed I didn't see in the rest of the military, at least in the conventional military that I was exposed to, where officers and enlisted guys have actually a pretty good relationship. And many times, you know, depending on who you're around, it's a first name basis, which is pretty cool too. Yeah.
Dude, Chase, pull up the Navy SEALs falling asleep during Hell Week. It's like, Brandon, they are falling asleep standing up in the tent. They're like,
so there's this evolution called Around the World, and it's on the morning, the night and the morning of the last day. And it's like an 18-hour evolution, and they start you in Imperial Beach, and you paddle your boats all the way around the bay and then around to the Bud side. It takes about 18 hours to do it, and guys are like falling asleep in the boat, falling into the water. It's hilarious, but you know, and guys are hallucinating as well. But it's pretty wild.
How far?
Sleep deprivation induced psychosis.
Yeah.
How far did you make it?
So fucking hard. I didn't even get out of NDOC. Yeah. Elder Scrolls Skyrim came out, and I was more psyched about that. And I made the mistake of taking my family out to Buds with me. And so I got the chance to go home every day to a warm bed and like see my newborn son and shit. And so it mind me. So I was like, I want to be home.
Yeah. But you also had a bit of an excuse too. You fell off the climb tower, I think.
Yeah, I got crushed during surf passage, and then the same day I fell off the rope tower on the beach from the very top of it.
Oh no!
So I wasn't feeling very good, but they went
the slide for life.
Yeah.
Oh man!
And then I was just like, I'm gonna go home now.
This video game came out.
Yeah.
That sounds way more comfortable than cold water.
Yeah. It happens, but at least you went, man.
It was a good learning experience.
I think it's a great learning experience. Even the time. Even after I failed out the first time, looking back on it, knowing that I may never actually accomplish it, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't change that for anything, man. Because I mean, it's like the way I look at it is, you know, you have a baseline before that of what you think is tough. And then once you go through it, you're like, your baseline gets completely reset. And it actually makes it kind of hard for you to like, I think sometimes integrate or relate to other people, because you're like, are you seriously complaining about this? Like, this is cake. And sometimes I notice when I'd go home to my wife and, you know, she'd be complaining. She says she doesn't complain. She says she communicates. And I'd be like, I wouldn't be the most empathetic here. Let's just say that I've gotten better learning over the years, but yeah.
It's hard as shit when you're trying not to, you hear what people's trials and tribulations are, and you're like,
yeah,
you're losing sleep over that, my guy? Well,
yeah.
That is baseline. That is what?
All I did was use the wrong pronoun. Jesus Christ.
Reset. What the fuck?
Yeah, especially as our culture becomes more insane, it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But
but as you're saying, it's learning that everyone has different trials and tribulations, walks in lives, and you're like, okay, I might not view it as a big problem.
Yeah.
Whether it's communicating with the wife, spouse, friends, family, and you're like, but you know what? I'll step in their shoes.
Yeah.
I'll be empathetic to what is going on, and then I'll lend. You're probably a very good rock to have in your family, where they're like, hey, lean on you for anything. It's like, fuck, what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have two little girls, a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old. So, you know, definitely try to be that rock. But at the same time, living with three women, and, you know, even my dog is female. But
it's a lot of estrogen in that house.
It's definitely made me, you know, more empathetic, and it's dialed me down quite a bit. So that's been good for me, I think.
Yeah. It could have went two ways. Hey guys, Ellie here, former Navy SEAL. It's like, I switched his name. This is crazy.
Oh my God. So went too far. Went too far. All right.
Overcorrection.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're doing after Buds, you got on a team and then you did 5 deployments.
So I actually did 2 deployments on a ship after I'd failed out of SEAL training.
Oh, okay.
2 on the USS Gettysburg as a gunner's mate, and then I got to come back, and then I did 3 deployments with SEAL Team 3, all 3 to Iraq.
Where in Iraq?
So the first one in 06 was to Habbaniyah. The second one was all over Iraq. We were just like nomads traveling everywhere. And then the last one in 2010 was to Fallujah.
How was a big... like my buddies went back in 2010 for just conventional army, and they said it was such a huge shift.
It was
everything.
It was, man. Like, we were handing the country back over, and we were trying to train up our partner forces so they were ready to take on the brunt of it once we left. And I noticed how just the tone had changed, and like you started to see the locals become really disrespectful. And when they knew we were going to be there for a while, they were, a lot less aggressive towards us. But I started to note, like, we almost got in gunfights at checkpoints with people. Like, guys would, all these Iraqi army guys would run out of the barracks, and I thought we were going to have shootouts sometimes at checkpoints because they were so aggressive towards us as we were getting out. Like, it was pretty wild.
That's fucking crazy. So you'd pull up in checkpoints. How big were your convoys when you'd roll out?
It depended on the op that we were on or the whatever mission we were doing. Sometimes, a lot of times it'd be 3, 4, 5 trucks, but usually about that size, depending on the op.
Well, the good news is, at the end of the day, the transition went very well.
Yes.
They did really good after we left.
Yeah, they did. And I don't know if we've learned our lesson. I doubt we have, based on what I see every day. But it looks like there's a good chance that we might repeat that cycle pretty soon.
Oh, Eli, we'll never learn.
I think you might be right, dude.
Just remember, it gets worse before it gets worse.
Just remember, there's a lot of money in not learning that lesson.
There is a lot of money in not learning that lesson. That's the sad thing, man.
Yeah, dude, so much fucking money. My guys went back and they were like, "Bro, we're driving with our headlights on at night." I'm like, "Huh? Why?"
Yeah.
Like, we got in one gunfight. They had to write down how many rounds, like the target, everything from one fight, and that was going from the surge to that. So it was this completely different ballpark.
Were they forced to run white lights?
Yeah. Oh yeah, at night they would just be forced to ride. They were just doing like, "Hey, yeah, we have to drive with white lights at night. We can't. We have to like." You had to follow their laws and started integrating that. You remember back in the heyday where it's like you just blare the horn, get everyone the fuck out of your way. There was
throw crashes.
Yeah. And then that was just a complete switch in 2010. I was like, that sucks, guys. Holy shit. Did you have, like, for your ROE, what was the biggest shift you've seen on that side?
I didn't really see much on the ROE side. One of the things that I did see, though, was one of my goals was to become a sniper. And it took me, unfortunately, a while. I failed out of sniper school the first time. I love to talk about my failures. There's a ton of them. But
I get it.
Finally,
we'll get to you, Brandon.
right. So obviously, a lot of before I became a sniper, the snipers got to do a lot of work. And once I finally became a sniper, I got my guns in 2009, and then on my 2010 deployment, we weren't even allowed to take them on ops anymore because they were trying to de-escalate the situation, and snipers typically don't do that. They usually, pour gasoline on it. And so that was one of the big things that I noticed that, as we were drawing things down.
I just pictured, it's like, John, shit up. You can't bring that.
Yeah.
Hard
Right.
I trained so
It's
hard
my
for this
job.
Right.
All alone? Now time to trim the old pubes.
Hey there, beach babe. Are you ready to soak up those summer vibes and get the perfect beach bod?
I don't have pants on.
Yeah, I noticed. Well, you're in luck, because our friends over at MANSCAPED.com have you covered from head to toe. With the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, they'll have you looking and feeling good this summer. Trust Manscaped to unlock the confidence you need to turn heads this summer season. Join the 10 million men who already trust Manscaped and use discount code UNSUB at checkout to get 20% off your order plus free shipping. Let's make this summer your smoothest one yet.
Save me. Keep your ear and nose as tidy as your hedges with the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose head trimmer. You'll be looking classy as ever.
The updated Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra groin and body hair trimmer got a summer makeover. It's waterproof now for all those times you need to shave your groin or body hair at a pool party.
So get 20% off plus free shipping using code UNSUB at manscaped.com. The summer sun is here to stay, so trust Manscaped to keep those pubes at bay.
Where's sniper school for?
So for us, it's in Indiana.
No shit.
Yeah, Camp Atterbury. You know Camp Atterbury?
It's on west.
I don't know the geographical location. I'm not a very good SEAL, honestly. I don't pay attention, but it was in Camp Atterbury.
No shit.
Yeah, and some of the portions of our sniper school, because it's three segments. It's starts out with pick, which I believe is 2 weeks, just teaching you how to use cameras and photograph and send it back to base, and then scout is a month. It's a month long, and just teaching you how to stock and whatnot. And then the sniper school itself is about 6 weeks up in Atterbury, Camp Atterbury.
That's a complete shift from like the Army sniper school then.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but it was kind of cool because when I went through sniper school, we had a recon sniper there, we had an SF sniper there. So they brought in. That's one thing I loved about a lot of our training. We'd bring Army dudes in, we'd bring Marine dudes in, and be like, hey, we wanted to share gouge and learn from other people. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's like smart. That's actually really smart, because then you're picking the brains of these guys that are already snipers, and they're, under the Army, under their umbrella, and then you're all together learning from each other.
Yeah, and it'd be funny because you'd ask them, I'd like talking to them and, hey, what's the difference? What's the difference between our school and your school? And just hearing them talk about the differences was pretty cool.
The whole camera thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Did you guys not do?
They didn't have. There's no camera show. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Wow.
I'm actually intrigued right now. I'm like, well, you have 3 cycles. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Stalking, I think, it's all rolled into a month, I believe. To double check that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, camera ops. It makes sense, especially for that train up of, hey, let's establish, let's identify, send intel back.
Right. None of that. Interesting.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the hardest part of that entire?
For me, I was a horrible stalker. I'm
walking around.
that pretty much looked like me on the stalking field. But it's pretty cool when you look at, I love people are fascinated when you start talking about it, because imagine this, you've got 1,000, you'll start on 1,000-yard field, and they'll be like, okay, you have 4 hours to complete this stock. And so what you'll do is you start on this end, and on this end over here, they'll have a bunch of instructors with picnic tables and spotting scopes, and they'll just sit there, and from the moment the whistle blows, all these snipers will start trying to make their way 1,000 yards up to usually within 300 yards of these picnic tables. And if they see you, they'll blow a whistle and they'll say, everybody freeze. And a lot of guys don't try and freeze. They try and get down real quick, but they want you to freeze. And then what happens is they'll be like, okay, and one of the other groups of instructors, they're called walkers. They'll be in the field and they'll send a walker up, and they'll be looking at in the area they saw Brandon, and they'll be like, all right, walk 20 paces forward. Okay, walk 5 more paces forward. Okay, you're close to him now. Take 5 paces to your right. Yep, he's in that location. Take two paces forward, and then there'll be sniper at your feet. And if you're within a couple feet of them, that's 1 hit right there. Okay, so you can only get 3 hits, or you fail. And so if you get a hit before you even get up to the 300-yard where you make your final firing position, you're in a tight way, because it gets a lot harder there. So if you get up to within 300 yards, Then you have to build a final firing position, and you have to be within, whatever range they give you. They might say you have to be within 250 yards, 300, whatever they give you for the stock. If you get to within 300 yards and start building your final firing position, and you're moving around, you're trying to veg up your ghillie suit, take whatever bush that you're hiding in, laying on your back, cutting little pieces of twig, and then like putting it in your hat and in your ghillie suit, so that when you step up to finally take your final firing shot, you actually blend in with everything around you. So once you get ready and you're like, okay, and then you build a little loophole, or you cut you cut a hole through the vegetation in the tree or the bush that you're working out of, then you'll call an instructor and you'll be like, okay, I'm ready to take my shot. And you're so far away, you're 300 yards, so they can't really hear you. You'll be like, even if you said to her, she's a walker, hey, I'm ready to take my shot. And he'll be like, okay. So he'll come over like 10 yards from you, and he'll say over the radio, he's like, I got a shooter ready to take their shot. And so they'll start burning the area, looking like, because they know that instructor is 10 yards from you. And so they'll start burning the area. If they don't see you, they'll say, okay, get 5 yards from him. And then the instructor will walk 5 yards from you. Now they'll start really burning in on the 5 yards. They walk that guy one more step. They'll say, okay, get, within, 3 yards of him. And so the walker will actually be 3 yards from you, and they'll burn that area. And if they see anything, that's a hit. That's another hit right there. And then it gets even crazier, because once you take your shot, not only do you have to hit the target and hope that you've cut like a good enough loophole in, but if they're watching and they see like your muzzle flash, or any trees or any bushes move or any grass move, that's another hit. And so like it's pretty legit, dude. Jeez. And the other thing that you have to do, I felt a stock, because they don't let you use rangefinders. So you have to actually use the mil dots within your scope to range. And if you're 10% off of the actual distance that you are, that's a hit as well. And I failed to stock that way because my distance was off. But so it's actually pretty legit, the stocking portion.
You're off by how much? 10 yards?
10%.
10%. Oh, 10%.
Yeah, 10%
okay,
of the
it.
distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
We're still like all that, and that's what's crazy.
At 300 yards, that's 30 yards off. That's
yeah. And then it's fucking crazy is they are standing there. You have a guy standing there.
Yeah.
And then you're taking the shot.
Yeah.
And then they just can't find you. And they know the general vicinity. And you're like, and these guys, when they're trained up, you probably it's the writing out like, look out there. They see like pins. They'll add pins or random objects they have to point out as part of your...
we call those observation drills. Are you talking about...
Yeah, observation drill. Yes.
Yeah, so they'll take like a football field, and then you have to find... You'll have an hour to find like 10 items. And like they'll have a couple big obvious ones. Like they'll have an AK-47 like out there on the football field. And this football field, keep in mind, it's not a football field. It's like grass and like actual normal terrain.
Right.
But then they'll have something as small as like a little piece of 10-inch piece of 550 cord that you have to find too. And so what you do is like you try and break the football field down into quadrants, and you start with your scope, your spotting scope, you start burning the area, see if you can find it, and you have to find all 10 of them. So just little things like that they do.
And you have to find all 10?
I think you could get. I think you get like an 80% or something. Yeah, I can't remember what.
Yeah, I think it's 8.
I can't remember exactly, but I got dad brain, dude. I can't remember.
That's what we call it. We call it TBI.
There you go. Yeah, there's that too.
Spicy nostalgia.
Yeah, spicy nostalgia.
What did we say the other day? It was adult shaken baby syndrome.
Yeah. No, I've never heard of that.
adult shaking baby.
Dude, yeah. All those portions, that's what's crazy. You tip your hat to the dudes that go through that, because it is. Man, saying you hear that shit and you're like, yeah, I found a pin at 300 yards or 100 yards. I
can't find a pen in my house half the time.
I know. It was funny, man. Like we were all just making our ghillie suits for the first time. You'd never done it before, and like I had this big like thing of twine hanging off my hat, and I walk in and my buddy's like, what are you, Twisted Sister or something? But there's some good, some funny memories from sniper school for sure.
What are some of your like favorite memories from like either basic and or during your time in?
Yeah, there was this real funny story when we were going through Hell Week, my second Hell Week. We were doing that evolution called Around the World that takes usually like 18 hours, and I was in boat crew 1, so all the tallest guys, which is good because usually at least in Hell Week, like the little guys crush everybody on like PT and stuff, you know. And but we usually won most of the races in Hell Week, which means we didn't get as wet we didn't have to get wet and punished as much as everybody else. But it was kind of cool. We were doing one of the last legs of Around the World, and our boat crew leader was he was a Lieutenant JG named Chris. And it was funny because everybody was just exhausted. You know, we're barely even paddling at that point, and people are just trying to keep moving and stay awake. And I remember we were out we were in Coronado, and we were paddling down to the demo pits, which is one of the last evolutions we do. And Chris, the officer in charge of our boat crew, is like, "Hey guys, I gotta take a shit real quick." And so we're like, he's like, "I'm just gonna jump over the side and do it." And so he jumps over the side, he pulls his pants down, and he starts doing his business. And it's hilarious because we see this turd float up to the top of the water. And it was so funny because of the currents and how slow we're going. The turd starts getting closer and closer to him, and he starts freaking out. And so he's like, "Guys, paddle." And so we're laughing hysterically and trying to paddle, you know, so because he's hanging onto the bow line while he's doing it, and you know, he doesn't want to get hit by his own turd. And that was one of my favorite memories. But it was
That's
a good
crazy.
That's funny.
That's what's crazy is just like, I'm going to take a shit real quick, hop over, you're just holding. It's like that kid stare, that baby stare.
Yeah.
It's like, don't make eye contact. No, stop looking at me.
You're like the dog at the end of the yard.
Right.
Like, you got me right.
No one's looking, but everyone's looking.
God.
Oh man,
I was thinking about it a second ago when you said, "Oh, well, we'll get to you." I was like, wait a fucking minute. As we're telling all these stories, I'm like, you know, the guest on this podcast is the guy who's got both of the jobs we wanted.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think about that till just now. I'm like, damn it.
Hey,
Eli, what's one job that you wanted?
You didn't want it that bad, dude.
No.
Trust me. And I know you didn't. I know you didn't want that job.
It was that was the interesting part about it, is because like I wanted the job to be done right more than I wanted to have the job.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, the big thing. And we were talking about that a little bit.
And not to talk a ton of politics, but I think that's one of the reasons a lot of us got behind you, because we were like, dude, this guy, he's real. He doesn't want this job, but this is what we need right now more than ever. We don't need career politicians. We need people that have actually done stuff, that, you know, are willing to go up there, try and change this place, and don't want to be there forever. You know,
and I appreciate it, because you were one of the few guys who jumped in and actually endorsed me during the race, which is like, people don't understand. That's a risky fucking move.
No, it is. And a lot of people don't understand it, but like the way I put it to people is like, how many of you work at a job somewhere where you're actively trying to get one of your coworkers fired? Like, it's not comfortable. Like, you have to see these people on a daily basis. It's not even something that I don't like to do it myself, but I'm just like, hey man, if we don't get enough people up there like I'm talking about, this country's done, dude. Yeah. It's just a matter of time.
Because endorsing against an incumbent, especially on your own team, is very rare.
No, it is.
It almost
man.
never happens.
It is. And so. I think it's one of the reasons my own party put a hit out on me this cycle. But you know,
yeah, I mean, they got Bob.
Yeah,
Bob Good.
It is what it is, man. You just got to be able to. You got to roll the dice and be like, hey man, I'm not here to be a part of the team, you know?
Yeah. And even like putting aside the partisan, you know, Republican, Democrat, whatever, it's like, I feel like no matter what, we need more people that are, I said we need less politicians and more statesmen, like return to statesmen, where it's just people that are, you should view politics as community service.
Yeah.
Instead of a job. Oh, I aspire to be in DC. I want to be in the mix, you know, all that stuff. Like, I just think it would be so cool to be doing X, Y, and Z. Like, anytime I hear that sort of verbiage, I'm like, man, you're the worst person for this job.
So disconnected from the trials and tribulations of life, because usually it's like this way to lawyer or Harvard, and then I'm going to do this because, again, that is your career path.
I've always wanted to be you're the worst person.
Yeah.
You're the worst possible person.
I wanted to be president one day, and so I made that happen. That was your fuck? Why? What the fuck?
That's why I think some of the best people who have been in the job, let's say, of president or congressman, things like that, are just people who've succeeded in other things, especially like business. They understand how the world works. They put a couple of major accomplishments under their belt, and then they're like, all right, well, this is my way of giving back to my country. I feel like that's the people you want.
We were talking about that the other day with like Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh yeah.
It's just like a homeboy's just like there just to, it's like fighting. He's on the front lines. He's leading charges. And then they're like, hey, you're going to be vice president. Then assassination happens. Now he's president. And then he's just kicking ass, taking names. You're like, that guy has the Americans' interest at that point. We don't have that as much.
Much better than the other Roosevelt.
Yes, yeah.
No, the other one's not my favorite. Yeah.
Do you have any bad habits that you need an alternative to?
No.
Why do you ask? Well, have you ever heard of the flavored air category?
No.
Tons. Why? It's quickly becoming the leading alternative to bad habits.
Is that the one that's a whole new movement towards better habits? Led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume!
Fume is an award-winning flavored air device with flavors like crisp mint and orange vanilla.
Fume draws flavor to your mouth hole.
And there's no vapor, so you can use it anywhere.
There's no nicotine. It's not addictive.
Non-toxic flavors.
And no batteries, so you never have to worry about charging it or what happens when it dies and you freak out.
It's a guilt-free alternative.
It looks awesome. Brandon, feel the weighted, cool design.
Oh my God, it's almost like it's made to fidget with. Like it calms anxiety through the use of magnets and things.
Which of the core flavors is your favorite, Brandon and Cody?
Crisp mint.
I like orange vanilla. It's like a creamsicle.
Fume has served over 300,000 customers.
And you could be the next success story.
For a limited time, use the code UNSUB to get a free gift with your journey pack.
Head to tryfume.com. That's TRYFUM.com with code UNSUB.
Or scan the QR code on screen right now to get a free gift with your order today. Your business, and I just learned this, did you sell your business because you were going into Congress and trying to do it like that?
No, it was kind of interesting, man. As we were running the business, Jen and
Real quick, can we just say what the business is? For those who don't know.
Oh, we're gonna go back to this shit.
Yeah, no, it's called Bottle Breacher. You guys have something similar right here on the desk. These came to the States before I ever started the company, but we kind of made it more commercial, more mainstream, and so basically we started making 50 caliber bottle openers, and then we went on the show The Shark Tank, and I could go through like the genesis and how it all happened, but we just basically started taking military grade equipment and making men's gifts for men out of them, and largely that could be personalized with laser engraving. And so it was cool, man. It really gave me something I could sink my teeth into after the service, because I did notice a lot of my buddies that got out struggled. And they struggled to find something. They struggled to find something with mission, which is, I think, so key for a lot of us. We don't even realize how important it is to us. And a lot of us are like, okay, I've done my time. I'm going to go isolate myself now. And I think that's when a lot of us get into trouble. But if you can find something that actually has mission involved, like for me, we hired a bunch of veterans, we made our products in the USA, and we work with a lot of veteran nonprofits. So I can't compare it to the mission of, being in the service, being in the military itself, but it gave me enough mission to actually like want to get up every day and try and make the company as successful as possible.
For goal-oriented people, I feel like 100%. That's just a necessity, just to have that objective.
100%. So it was a blessing for me, man. It was a way to, provide for my family too when I got out of the service. And then, we were running the company, and my wife and I, Jen, we both felt like, God was calling us out of entrepreneurship. And so we actually, I thought I was going to go into men's ministry of all things. And I was putting in my resume with men's ministries. I was getting the Heisman. It wasn't working out. And I was like, all right. And then a political consultant actually reached out to me and asked me to run in that specific district. She thought for some reason I could win it. And so we took some time.
Good call.
Yeah, we took a couple weeks, think about it, we prayed about it, and then we decided to give it a shot.
That's awesome. That's something too. I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast too, that I didn't know before, but most candidates are chosen to a degree.
Yeah.
Like most people come to you like, have you ever considered doing this? And we have people that would support you. I didn't know it's either that or some absurdly rich guy who self-finances his whole campaign and just throws his hat in the ring.
Or you're just watching Yellowstone one night.
Or you're just watching Yellowstone one night and you're like, hey, I feel like I could do that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
My congressman could use a change.
Oh, you think they're joking?
That's actually
That's literally what happened.
I don't know if you watched Yellowstone.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
Where John Dutton runs for governor.
Yeah.
And just like I was hammered on his couch about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
We were watching it, and I'm like, man, because I'd given it a little bit of thought passingly, because I'd always been involved in the politics thing.
Yeah.
And then we were watching that, and I'm like, man, I feel like we could actually do that. Like, I feel like we could make a good go of it. And I didn't realize at the time, like I said, it's either you have millions and millions of dollars to spare, and you just throw a bunch of money at it, or political consultants come to you and say you're a great candidate. Because I promise you, they would have never come to me and said you're a great candidate. Because don't fit the profile exactly.
Right.
But
no, I was surprised, and I actually asked the lady who asked me to consider running. I was like, "Is this normally how this works with us?" And she actually said, "No, it's not normally how it works." But and the way it actually happened was it was kind of a luck thing. 9 months before that transpired, a guy who was a state rep actually called me and said, "Hey, Eli, we were supposed to shoot a commercial with a politician, a senator, down in your neck of the woods at a business, and the business owner backed out. And so we're scrambling to find a business to shoot a commercial at." And I was like, "Okay, well, who's it for?" And it was Senator Martha McSally at the time, and I was like, let me do a little homework. And so anyway, I said, yeah, you guys can come shoot a commercial here. And so they interviewed me. At first, they were like, hey, we're going to give you a script. You're going to read it. And I'm like, no, I'm not reading a script. And I was like, how about I write a script? And they're like, okay, write it. So I wrote it, and they're like, no, we're not using that either.
Why didn't they want to use your script? I'm curious.
I don't know. It's probably too hardcore or something.
Probably the profanity, amongst other things. But.
Right. So they were like, how about this? How about we'll interview you for like 45 minutes, and if you say it, we'll clip up what you say, and then we'll use that. And I was like, okay, deal. And so that's what we did.
Nice.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what got you in that universe?
That's the whole reason.
Huh. Weird how things work out like that.
It is.
Going from what made you start, as you're saying, like your journey into the business world, you're like, hey, I need a mission, because we've talked about it multiple times. It's like when you leave the military, a lot of people are lost, especially like people that were in war, or that was their structure, and now you're thrown into the world, and then you're surrounded by people that you have nothing to relate to a lot of the time. You're like, let me hear your trials and tribulations. Shut the fuck up. Holy moly, you have no idea what trials and tribulations
they're like,
are.
Eli, I'm going to need those TPS reports. You're like, what?
That'd be great.
Right.
Cut to me lighting the building on fire.
No, so for me, it was kind of cool because just starting this business, my little brother was in the service too. He was a Cobra pilot in the Marine Corps.
Sweet.
And he went to the Philippines, and he brought me back a generic 50 cal bottle opener, and I thought it was one of the coolest things I'd ever received. And so I put it in our junk drawer at home, and then anytime the guys would come over to watch like a UFC fight or whatever, I'd break it out and they'd freak out. They were like, oh my God, is that a real 50 cal round? I'm like, yeah, it's a dummy round, but that's the real thing. And they were like, that opens your beer? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, where can I get one? I'm like, I don't know, man, unless you go to the Philippines. And so I was like, I started thinking about it. I'm like, that's pretty cool, but I bet I could make it better. And so we did.
Nice. When you were scaling, how was that like initially started a small mom and pop shop?
Yeah.
And then you actually got to a pretty big fucking size.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man, because I'm not a handy guy really at all. And no experience in manufacturing, but I went out to my garage and I had like a workbench, and I put like some 50 cal brass in my vise, and I started practicing cutting it with a Dremel tool to see if I could match something or get something that would open a beer.
You were probably one of the first American companies to
there
roll
was
that
another
out.
group. There was another group called Lucky Shot that was doing it. There was two other Navy guys that were doing it, called Bullets to Bandages, for a little bit too. But anyway, so when I started, I was cutting them with Dremel tools, and I was spray painting them, and they look like crap. And I was buying stickers online, and I was putting the stickers on it, like an infidel sticker, an American flag sticker, or, you know, whatever. I'd find little stickers of military units, and I'd put it on there. And then I asked my wife, I was like, because she had some success with some small online boutiques, and I was like, she was running them out of her house, and I was like, hey, do you think you could help me sell these? And she's like, yeah, I think I could. Let me do some research. And so she comes back, and she's like, hey, I think I know where we're going to put them. She's like, we're going to put them on Etsy. And I was like, Etsy? I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
And but
you talking to?
I know, I listened to her, and that's where we started selling them. And so I used the same methodology we use in the service, kind of like that crawl, walk, run mentality. Mm-hmm. And I'd buy 10 of them at a time. I'd make them, and then we'd sell them. And then I was like, okay, we sold those 10. I'm going to buy 50, get my price point down a little lower. And then I'd make them, we'd sell them. And then, you know, as the thing started taking off.
So at this point, you're still just in your garage with a Dremel tool.
I made like the first 500 of them with a Dremel tool. And it was kind of cool because the first fixture I ever made was, I found out that my broom handle that I'd sweep the porch with actually fit perfectly over a 50 cal round. And so I made my first fixture out of a Dremel tool. So instead of taking like a tape measuring cloth and actually drawing out with a Sharpie the cut, I could, you know, just put that cut in the fixture, draw it real quick, Dremel it up, sand it down, and then it was ready for paint. And so
that's one out of every 5 of the first batch had little blood stains from when you fucked up the Dremel tool or cut yourself on the brass.
No, I'll still see them. Some of my buddies have the originals, and I'll look at them, and they're and you can tell they've been Dremeled because the cut isn't like really good.
Yeah,
but they were selling, you know, and so
they've got just one fucking tool you bring down, it makes the entire cut.
But at the end of it, I bought a CNC machine with live tooling, and we'd put in like 30 at a time. It would go, you know, 15 minutes later you'd come back and they were all perfectly cut. Yep. And then, you know, I started growing it and, you know, figuring out, you know, what a powder coater was, what a chrome plater was. And I'd start going around to these businesses and, you know, testing them out, seeing if they were good, seeing if they could deliver on time. And then one of the best decisions I ever made, though, was I had a chopper in San Diego, a motorcycle, and it was like my therapy. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to sell that thing, and I'm going to buy a laser engraver. And so I did that. And right before I did that, our sales were still pretty minuscule, but we'd already got to like $7,500 a month, which is, I never thought we'd even get close to that. I thought we were going to do maybe a couple $100s a month, and I could save it for a date night or a gun or something I wanted to just sock away some money. And then after I bought the laser engraver, our sales went from like $7,500 a month and a half later, $22,000 a month. Nice. And then before I went on Shark Tank, we were doing $80,000 a month selling that product out of the garage.
And that's
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what I want. So again, 88 grand a month. And then a question, what is that next bump up from being on Shark Tank and then seeing that jump? Yeah,
it was cool, man, because it was cool because if you start doing research, and a lot of entrepreneurs do this before going on the show, you read about Shark Tank effect, and most businesses grow by like 700% like the next year. And so
even if they don't get bought.
Yeah. And so insane. Just because of the exposure of the show's like a $5 million commercial, you know. Yeah. And we were on national TV for like 8 or 9 minutes, even though Jen and I were actually in the tank for like an hour and a half. And so they cut a lot of it down. One of the things that actually happened in the show that actually didn't happen is they show Lori Grenier going out of our deal, and she never did. But before you go on the show, you have to sign a bunch of legalese saying that, hey, we can basically make this show look any way we want it to, which is kind of scary. But we were like, dude, we'll do it. And so I remember we had a watch party when our show aired, and it was airing on the East Coast first. And after minutes of the show being on TV, the website crashed hard.
Yep.
Even after load testing it, and I think we were getting like 13,000 hits a second or something. And thankfully, though, we, just going back to the military, like how important redundancy plans are. So we planned for it. We had our Etsy shop still up and running, and so we just diverted all the traffic to Etsy. And the next morning we woke up, because before that we had to make about 130 units on a good day. And then after we woke up the next day, 60,000 units we had to make.
60,000.
At first I was like, I was watching the money roll in. I was like, yes, this is awesome. And then I was like,
I gotta make this.
somebody's got to have to make it. And I was like, and then you're
Get
like,
the wood broom.
pretty much go buy a bunch of brooms at Home Depot.
I need a bunch of brooms, and while you're at Home Depot, I need a bunch of Mexicans.
Let's get our people.
Oh my God, dude. But yeah, so
Jesus.
and it was it took us about 3 months to get out of that back order. And the worst part is that some would find, because we partnered up with Kevin O'Leary and Mark Cuban, and people would find their emails somehow, and they would email them like, I've been waiting on my bottle breacher for 2 weeks, still haven't got it. What the hell? Why did you invest with these losers? And if you get an email like that from Mark Cuban, you're like, oh God, dude, it would ruin your night, So
Mark Cuban was forwarding those over to you?
Yeah, he would be like, WTF, get this stuff squared away. And so that was added pressure, but we got it figured out. And then
You still talk to Mark?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
I do talk to Kevin O'Leary though.
Really?
And he actually came up to Capitol Hill a couple weeks ago not a couple months ago. And he testified before the Small Business Committee, so I got to ask him questions this time. So
That's
kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
But I love him, man. Kevin's awesome, dude. He's like super down to earth. All the people I know that had companies that he worked with, they loved him. Like he would come down to Tucson and take the entire, team out to, dinner. He'd say, make reservations at the nicest steakhouse in town. And then he'd tell the owner when he walked in, hey, I want you to bring out your 10 finest bottles of wine. And, he'd be like, every bottle of wine, he'd like, all right, guys, let me tell you where this wine came from and the history of it. Like, he's just a really
big wine guy.
Yeah, he's a big wine guy. And he just treated everybody with respect, regardless of what position they had. And that's just how I see him treat people. And that's why I like him. So.
That's amazing, dude. That's wild, that growth, because that is that exponential growth where you're like, happy, not scrambling to catch up. How long did it take to actually get caught up? You're like, because you had to expand for machines, every part of it.
And that's the thing that, it's interesting, the dichotomy of Shark Tank, because a lot of people want to go on the show and blow their business up. But what a lot of us don't realize is that a lot of businesses actually fail under the weight of it all, because you're not growing, organically. It's like, it's this, and most of us aren't ready for it. We're not prepared for it. And most of us are, entrepreneurs that are kind of figuring it out as we go.
With great marketing comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you just scramble time. This sucks. So when you,
You're basically 100xing your business overnight.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. That's actually a good question. Is once you hit 60,000, what did it falls off, and then you hit a average median? Probably, I'm guessing 20,000 or 10,000. What did it become was the norm after that?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think it was probably after the big spike. It probably went from 150 a day before Shark Tank to probably probably something like 1,000 a day, something like that.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that's still a shitload.
Yeah, it is. And we were able to buy enough enough engravers, enough, machines the CNC that I talked about to and then figure out programs to, kind of keep up with it along with the staff. But You know, it was just cool because we came out with a bunch of other products. We came out with something called the Freedom Frag, which was a grenade that opened your beer or your bottle, whatever. You know, we came out with we came out with a wine opener. We came out with just so many products, and that was my favorite part of it, was innovating and creating the products. You know what I mean? See if you could come up with the next thing. And there were a lot of lot of misses in there, but I just like product development, and I think it's fun.
So if I can ask, what was the thing that kind of tipped you in that you decided that you and your wife decided that you just didn't want to be a part of entrepreneurship anymore? What was the thing?
You know, there were a lot of things. Anybody that's, you know, started a business like that understands how much work and dedication it takes. There's no nights, weekends. There's no 9 to 5. You know, even taking a vacation a lot of the time is a big stress on your family, the company. So, you know,
everyone at the table was like, bro.
Yeah.
Bro. Dude, vacations are stressful as hell.
Yeah.
Right.
You're sitting there at the pool like, this is fun.
Honey,
Have a
you
good
love
time
this?
with the kids.
Yeah.
Right. So that, you know, that was a big part of it, you know, just wanting to spend more time with their kids.
Which is awesome to do.
Yeah.
This is a really good question. And then it ties in with the stress. A lot of people don't understand. It's like working for yourself is this fantastic idea. You're like, man, that is the dream.
Right.
Until you own 1 business, 2 business, 3 business, and you start. That is when stress. That's like true stress, in my opinion. Because you're like, other people's livelihood depend on you now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think, you know, for the majority of the time we owned it, we probably had about 30 employees, 25, 30 employees. And then around Christmas time, we'd bump up to about 60 with seasonals. But to your point, you know that the decisions that you make, you know, affect these people. And especially if you're hiring vets and like you feel extra committed to try and making sure that these guys are taken care of, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's like if I don't do my job properly and I fuck up or I get complacent, 4 of my employees' kids aren't going to have a Christmas.
100%.
Like that's a crazy thought to just go to bed with every night.
It is.
And you don't know how to scale it. It's like one of the hardest parts is scaling. We're big on very extremely slow hiring process here. Even for Unsub, whatever we're doing, Pepperbox, extremely slow hiring process, because I've watched the other end of multiple businesses. It's like, we can hire everyone. And then year goes in, it's like, we have to lay off so many people.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, before Shark Tank, we had 6 employees. The 2 weeks after, we had to bump up to 30. And so you're just hiring anybody with a pulse, you know, because you need people so fast. And it's clearly not the best way to do it. But when you're in damage control mode and you're trying to plug holes in the ship, I mean, you kind of got to do what you got to do. But to your point, it is wise to take your time when hiring people.
Yeah. And that's what's scary, is that growth where you're like, just... Yes, he's addicted to meth, but he works really fast. He's jumping around. He doesn't sleep.
It was funny.
Hiring autistic people bit.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the ladies I hired, you know, we had this little like Circle K next door where people would go get drinks or snacks or whatever, and you know, I was walking over, or one of our employees was walking over to get some, like a coffee or something, and they saw her, like she'd clocked in, and then she'd gone and like taken a nap in like on a dirt lot, and told me, hey, you might want to go check on so and so. I think she's passed out over there, and I think she came in drunk, and then, you know, went and just passed out in the dirt lot. So
at least she clocked in first,
right? So you would see stuff like that.
She's responsible.
You would see stuff like that and be like, oh my god. But,
Bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, that's
and then you try not to revert back to
military.
What would have been?
Put his knife hand away, motherfucker.
Right. What would have been the reaction in the military? You know, you have to remind yourself, we're not in the military anymore.
Yeah. Dude, push-ups, you dumb.
Right.
What is he talking about? It's like, never. Here, I ride up. You get 2 more of those, can legally fire you.
Pretty much.
Teresa, we talked about this. No passing out in the Circle K parking lot.
Really?
Oh,
oh my god.
God, that dude. It's everyone at the table is like that entrepreneur mindset, and the outside on for everyone out there. It's like the amount of work it takes to get to your position. Yeah. Everyone's position is a metric shit ton. It is awesome, but you have to buckle up and just like your fun times go away. That's what I always say. It's like I work till 9, 10 at night. Wake up, gym, do everything else. Also, if I ever hear the excuse I don't have time to gym, you were in Iraq gymming, right? You would lift in Iraq? Yeah. Fuck off. Like truly fuck off. Everyone has time to gym. Make that part of your mental clarity and treat your body like a temple. But
do you ever use the house gym?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot.
I didn't know there was.
Did you go check it out?
I did. I didn't know that was a thing, but there's actually a gym in the House of Representatives.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, it's cool.
That makes way more sense.
Not a lot of guys. A lot of the guys in there are older.
Yeah.
But not a lot of guys use it. But there's a couple trainers down there, and one of the trainers is a dude named Chris, and like I'll take, I've got boxing gloves down there, and he'll hold the pads for me, and like it's one of the best workouts. You need to hit something some of the time around there,
Yeah.
You ever
it's either that or your coworkers.
You ever fought a pro boxer? We can do it right after this podcast.
No, I'm good.
Brandon's a pro boxer?
I'm good, actually.
I did a pro fight. It was technically a pro fight, but it was one of those.
It was a pro, not technically.
Yeah.
Well, 10-ounce gloves, televised, the whole.
Yeah, that's a pro fight, right?
Yeah, last year.
Don't
last
downplay
July,
that.
Nice.
Which was crazy because I knew like 2 weeks after that I was announcing my candidacy. So I'm like, man, I better win this. This is going to look really bad.
You had a black eye and you still look good.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Because I was training for my fight when I took some of the photos that we knew we were going to use for promotion for the campaign.
Yeah.
And in one of them, there's a very poorly photoshopped or poorly airbrushed black eye in one of them, and like I see it in like big projections when I'm doing events and shit, and I was like, man. Yeah, no, I was getting punched by Eli 2 weeks before that.
This is spar.
Yeah.
Fight.
It's fun.
That's awesome, dude.
No, but it's crazy stuff because like a lot of people don't know how much I got to and I had a couple of meetings obviously in DC and whatnot when things got really serious, but we were in with Gates' team and a bunch of people, and we got a lot of tours of the areas of the house the Capitol building you wouldn't really think are there.
Right.
Like the secret tunnels that go under.
Yep.
Well, not really secret, but
Right.
just the tunnel system that goes under the Capitol is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. All the tunnels that run under there. I still get lost all the time, but
Yeah.
it's cool.
'Cause it looks like a DMV down there.
If the weather's bad, or if there's a bunch of protests going on, which is always the case up there, it's kind of cool to just be able to stay out of the.
What's your favorite part of the Capitol nobody knows about? Just a little hidden gem. If you take people touring it, like what's the thing you point out?
I think Statutory Hall is pretty cool, but it's not really a hidden gem. And I'm honestly not one of these like I'm not one of these architecture history buffs, to be honest with you. I kind of just go over there, do my thing, and then come back. But a lot of the people that we take over there, we can usually take them on the House floor if nobody's on there. They like to see that.
I hear the Senate chambers,
Popping.
if if two guys want to use that after hours, that's available.
Yeah, well, that's what I've heard. But it's kind of cool.
That's what I can't burn out of my eyes.
It's kind of cool because like if you bring your little kids, we can take them on the House floor during voting. So that's kind of cool. So it's kind of cool because and most of the kids don't know who they're meeting, but you'll be like, hey, meet my friend Matt Gaetz, or whoever, and they don't know who they're meeting.
Right.
But it's cool because if little kids are on the floor, all the members will come up and they'll be like, hey, will you vote for me? And they'll give them their voting card, and the kids get to vote, on the House floor. So it's pretty cool.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's illegal. No, I'm joking. They're not 18. What the shit is this?
Right. Here, little Jimmy, vote early, vote often.
That's right.
I just really that was one thing I was really not looking forward to, is having to spend so much time in DC, because it's basically like from what I was told from several members is you basically have to live there.
Yeah.
For a lot of the year.
Yeah. So it's like it's 3 weeks a month usually. And usually when you're there, it's 4 days a week. So if we fly in on Monday, we usually fly out on Thursday. If we fly in on Tuesday, we fly out on Friday. So I always try and come back on the weekends to spend time with my family, and then, travel around the district. But it is a lot of time in DC, and that kind of sucks.
It's one of my most hated cities in the country.
Yeah.
I'm just not. There's a lot of great history there, and it's
Right.
really it's cool in that regard. But I couldn't imagine spending as much time. God bless you for it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't love it, but it's just like a lot of things, man. I didn't love living in a trailer in Iraq either, but you know, it was part of the gig, so we're just gonna do it.
You're sucking it up.
Suck it up.
That's crazy. So when you're that entire lifestyle, because I got to watch you talking about even like the assassination attempt, because you're the best person for that, which is when you have problems with the scenario, you're like, how the fuck did this even happen? And they're like, well, we said it was a problem.
Like, well, we would have called so many hits on that guy while he was stalking.
Pretty much.
Guys walking up with like a ladder. He's an airsoft.
No camouflage. Roof is, completely white.
Our buddy's shirt was his camouflage. Demo literally lives.
Oh yeah.
Really?
It's our buddy's shirt. Like,
oh my goodness.
We don't. You guys can decide if we wouldn't even mention that.
It's
pretty
he already
well
put it out there.
Yeah.
So we work through a company called Bunker Branding, and it's owned by one of the biggest gun tubers, Demolition Ranch. And it's right up here in Bernie. And the possible assassin was wearing one of his Demolition Ranch shirts when he shot at Trump.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was a big kerfluffle there for
Yeah,
a
he was
couple
wearing
days.
that shirt.
Okay. But it was green, right?
It was gray.
Was it gray?
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, there you go.
Okay.
But not good for, because then poor Demo didn't know until like it went all over the news, and it's like, and his name's the Demolitia.
Right.
He doesn't have a militia, but God bless that news. He
Right-wing militia group leader, Matt Carricker.
Demo's like, what the fuck?
I'm
dude?
sure.
I sell T-shirts.
Literally, that's it. So he had to put out a statement and everything.
Oh
He was
my
like,
God.
oh, this is
The news owed him an apology, which I mean that's a recurring theme usually, but
Right.
yeah, that was heinous.
Oh God. But going from that, like you're there, suit, tie, was that normal for you? Or were
Not
you
at
like,
all,
I do
man.
not like this at all?
Not at all.
But you have to cover your sleeve, I'm assuming.
I barely even had, suits, to be honest. This is how I typically dress.
You don't say.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
So yeah, I definitely didn't like that at all. But again, man, comes with the territory, and it's just I see it as just a season, and I'm hoping that I'm not in this season very long, to be honest with you. So
How long do you want, like the longest you would do this for?
yeah, in my
His
mind,
consultant right now is behind the camera, like no.
I know they already all know it, dude. But I'd
President.
Yeah, right.
Right,
when's your Senate race?
President of the Waffle House, dude.
You get voted in, you're like, no.
And there's no way that would ever happen, dude. But I'd like to do this for 2 to 3 terms for us, 4 to 6 years, and then come back to being a civilian again. But
Is it the stress levels same, or like what do you feel now is that switch in stress levels?
honestly, as I watch, and you guys might identify with it, you might not, but where I see the country going, I see it going more towards it definitely has a more totalitarian bent, where the federal government continues to overreach. And when you start seeing the federal government weaponize its its departments against patriots, when you're up there and you're fighting against them and you're calling them out and you're trying to hold them accountable, you know that you're putting a target on your back, right? Yeah. And so it's like there's a little bit of that, but being away from your family all the time, traveling all the time, getting your tail kicked all the time, trying to change the country around, but watching that you're in a body of people in a city in the United States that is, its sole goal is to protect the apparatus, the establishment, and feeling like you're not really moving the needle really effectively. All of that, not only is it frustrating, but it's stressful at the same time, man, because you guys probably feel the same way, man. I feel blessed that I got to grow up here in this country, dude, and have the freedoms and opportunities that we do. And being a dad and believing that my kids aren't going to have that, like that weighs on me too, you know. And so there's a lot, and you know, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I do feel grateful and blessed to be able to do it. But yeah, it is. It's just a different level of stress. I mean, you're not getting shot at anymore. I'm not away from my family for as long a periods of interrupted time as I used to be.
More of like a stress on the soul, rather.
Yeah, that's a great way to. Dude, not only you're a pro boxer, dude, you're like a philosopher over here, dude.
Not at all. I'm an internet retard now. I've gone back down to that.
Play-Doh over here.
Play-Doh.
Yeah, Play-Doh. AYDO.
Somebody get this dude a corncob pipe.
This is twisted.
Yeah, my great philosophical opinion of, yes, Congress sucks.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the image is like a sunset, you sitting looking at it.
I mean,
Super deep, Brandon.
That's also the crazy part, too, is just like the amount of people that just have a negative opinion of Congress in general.
Yeah.
Like the approval rating of Congress is almost a meme at this point, but
Yeah.
the incumbency rate is like 97% of incumbents who run that win their elections.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
No one know what you just said, Brandon. Go on.
Incumbents, for those who don't know in the unsubscribe audience, are the people that are already in office. So if you run for re-election, you are the incumbent.
Yeah.
So the amount of times that the incumbent wins their election, should they seek it, it's like 97%.
And what happens is if you go up there and you become part of the team and you fall in line and basically do what you're told, and you stay within the right and left lateral limits that are kind of proposed to you and told this is what you'll do, this is what you won't do, then the apparatus or the establishment will come and get your back and protect you when somebody tries to challenge that, right? Because
I was on the receiving end of that.
I know you do. And so that's why incumbency, it's one of the biggest reasons incumbency is so strong.
Yep.
That's crazy.
The devil that you know kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like the wars. I guarantee you're not like, well, it's not fun wars. That's it.
Yeah.
You experienced it, so you're on that opposite end.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then you hear people voting for it, and you're like, raise your hand. You've actually experienced it. And
right.
No one raises their hand. That must be like, what is that feeling? Because that's fucking wild to me.
No, it is wild, man. And sadly. And everybody's got their own perspective. Like, I know I don't have the, I know I don't, I won't say I'm not going to act like I have all the answers or have some pristine perspective or anything like that. But the way I look at it, and there are plenty of military guys up there that, we call them war hawks or neocons or whatever it is. But many of them, I think, just have this mentality that the United States is supposed to be some global police force, right? And they think that when the United States is involved in like protecting other countries and like selectively protecting other countries, that the world is a safer place. And I would even say, years and years ago, I would have even found myself closer to being in that camp.
Same. But
as I've gone to war, experienced it, seen a lot of my buddies not come back home. I know a lot of Gold Star families, and then I look at the financial, economical situation this country's in. I look at the fact that we don't have a southern border, we don't take care of our own people, but yet we'll send hundreds of billions of dollars overseas often to people that hate our guts. It just doesn't make a ton of sense, man.
It's the joke I was hearing, or the meme from earlier. It's like, oh no, there's an asteroid headed straight to the Earth that's about to destroy us all. Not to worry. I'm sending $200 billion to Israel and Ukraine. Like,
is that
right?
My tax dollars, somehow also my tax dollars, and then I love that they added under it, somehow not my tax dollars, the hurricane.
Yeah.
And you're like, huh?
Yeah, no, that's another great example of us not taking care of our own citizens. And when you look at FEMA, Alejandro Mayorkas, DHS, and taking millions and millions of taxpayer dollars and using them to resettle illegal immigrants here, as opposed to having money ready for disaster relief. It just
and that's coming out of the same budget is the problem.
Yeah, it is.
That's the crazy
now
part.
They say, oh well, it's two different pots, but they can move money around all the time, and they do. And so it's just, I think it's dishonest, and I think it's pathetic. That's the priority.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part of everything is not being, you can voice it as much as you want, and you're in a position where you're like, I can make a change now. I've heard officers that went from green to gold, and they're like, I thought I would make a change if I did this switch.
Right.
Not a damn thing actually shifted with that.
Right. And, I could make some arguments that just minuscule, small changes that I think that I've seen even, since I've been there. But big picture, no. Big picture, no. And who knows, man? I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how this whole thing plays out. But it's definitely, it's frustrating and it's concerning.
Crazy. Now,
please don't talk about that on Twitter. You see what happens there. Jesus Christ, man.
Right. So somebody light you up on Twitter?
No, Cody lights every
1,000 people.
Cody is a Homelander on Twitter. He just lands like, this is a laser beam cutting people in half. Like, Cody, and he's like, can I have an unsub Twitter account? We're like, no.
For a while there, I was the 11th most influential person on Twitter.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, Elon put out a list like top 20, and his name's on it.
Dang, bro.
I'm just like, but all I do is go around lighting fires. I'm like a kid with gasoline laughing at everyone on there.
Cody is the best backup you could ever ask for on Twitter. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good to know.
I see the things that people don't normally say or can't say.
There you go.
You're like,
So if you ever want to just nudge me a little bit on one of your tweets.
Just tag him.
Good to know.
Just tag him.
Cody, QRF.
Yeah. Put the spotlight up in the air.
Right.
You're like, oh, no. Do you
During
play?
the campaign, he was my air support. Just like lays that area. Hey, go fly.
Yeah.
There you go.
J-Dam coming in.
There you go.
What was your so video game, movies, switch topics a little. What is guns? Actually, guns. We can talk about some fire. Are you a big a lot of military guys, surprise, a lot of military guys aren't super into guns when they get out. Like, it took me years to get back into shooting because I shot so many fucking rounds in the military. I was like, I don't want a gun. I don't care enough.
Right.
What was your
No, I definitely would classify myself as somebody who stayed interested in firearms even after getting out. Yeah, absolutely.
You still long range, short range? What was your jam?
I like a little bit of everything, man. I still love to get out and shoot long range. I think it's, logistically it's more difficult to do. It takes more time, more setup. So if I don't have a lot of time, which I don't anymore, it's just easier to go set up a couple targets and do maybe some handguns and some carbine. But if I get some time, man, I love to break out the old bolt action.
What are you running?
Right now, my favorite is a Sig Cross and 6.5 Creedmoor.
It's actually, side note, it's a great rifle for the price point.
Oh,
dude, you cannot beat that.
You can't beat it. It's like $1,500, I think, retail.
Yeah.
It's got like a detachable box magazine. It's got a foldable, adjustable scope or buttstock. I mean, it's a damn good gun for the price point.
It's the one Sig that's actually cheap for what it is.
Yeah.
I dig them.
It's a monster.
What kind of long range guns are you guys shooting?
Sig Cross.
I have the the Covert SRS.
I don't know that one.
That's the world's smallest.
Covert is the brand?
Desert Tech Covert SRS.
Okay.
So it's the world's shortest sniper rifle.
What's it chambered in?
Surprisingly, in 20 seconds, you can just barrel swap and it holds 0. Wow. So I have 338 Lapua and 308 is the 2 rounds I run. Wow. And then it's just 20 seconds. You just click, pull.
What's the barrel length on it?
18 for the 308, 20 for the 338, and it's good out to 1,000, 2,000. Like, it's a .25. It's quarter minute angle rifle.
How much does that thing weigh?
Dude, it is this big.
So shooting 338, is it just like massive recoil?
And thankfully it has a really good break. But again, it is bullpup. It's a bullpup. Okay. So and most bullpups, you probably know, trigger sponge crap. This has a perfect trigger. So you're just like,
338 usually want a little bit more weight on it though.
Yeah.
338's a little spicy.
Yeah.
But the break, if you got a great break.
Yeah,
I mean-
they build a fucking fantastic rifle with that thing. I love it. That's my. And then I have your M700s.
Yeah.
So I run around with those too, just all Gucci'd out. But
Nice, man. What is that bullpup retail for?
I think like 8,000.
Holy cow.
6 or 8.
They're not cheap. Desert Tech makes good stuff, but it's,
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up, dude.
Oh yeah, fucking. If you had more time, we would take you shoot. Brandon has like 2 guns. I think you just bought your 3rd, right?
I'm new in the firearm space, but the one that I'm really enjoying now for long range is it's the nicest bolt gun I've ever bought. It was the Accuracy International 300 Win Mag.
Yeah.
And I did it to recreate the Secret Service shot from the Trump assassination video.
Okay.
Because we did that video and that kind of blew up, basically just showing like, hey, we did a slow-mo of the ballistics of what shooting an ear on a ballistic dummy would look like at a 5.56, and we did it like 100,000 frames a second on the slow-mo, just to show like people who, that was irritating.
How many shots did it take you to get the ear?
So I did it from very close.
Okay.
So I cheated a little bit on that. I didn't do it from 100 because what I was trying to prove
that'd be hard to get the top of the ear with the even at 100.
I think it'd be impossible. Out of the setup he was using, you're talking about like a 3 MOA AR-15.
And then he had a red dot on it, yeah.
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 I know I couldn't make that shot.
No, I couldn't either.
I mean, the equipment's not capable of that. I mean, without risking a headshot, which is one of the reasons why I get pissed when people are like, oh, well Trump obviously, he staged it. And like, good Lord. From 120 yards with a no magnification 3 MOA AR-15, there's a it is a greater chance he gets a round through the head than the ear shot.
Oh, much more.
Any day of the week.
Well, there's the people too that are like, even if a bullet came that close to his head, it would have blown half of his head off. It's like, what?
AR-15, giant bullet. The dangerous AR-15 would have scrambled his brain from the impact wave. It's
Oh
like,
my God.
dude, come on.
It's physics.
It went through a millimeter of cartilage.
Science.
Science. You guys just don't understand. Should have touched it and his head exploded like a pumpkin.
Those are the people that, you have the bullets out on the table, like 30-06 all the way down to 5.56. They're like, which one do you think an AR-15 fires?
Right. So you're talking about that AI 300. So in the teams, that was my favorite sniper rifle, but it wasn't like a standard AI rifle. So what they do is they take and I don't know why they did this, but they took like a Remington 700. They put an AI chassis on it, and then they built them out at Crane, Indiana, but probably shot very similar to your AI.
So I found out that's exactly what Secret Service does too.
Love that gun though, man. That was my favorite.
Secret Service does that exact same thing because it's way cheaper to build it.
Yep.
I didn't know that until after I bought this $15,000 gun.
Is it $15,000?
$15,000.
Oh my God.
That whole setup. And I realized afterward, I'm like, oh, I could have just gotten this for like $7K.
It's a quarter minute of angle.
Holy cow, dude.
Quarter minute of angle. This is the tiniest fucking little pat.
That is crazy, dude. I would love to see the recoil on 338.
Spicy.
Have you shot the 338 yet?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got a suppressor for it. I have that primal that bolts on too.
I'd shoot it and I'd be like, okay, that was great. That's it.
Dude, that $8 a round is why I don't shoot it much. I'm like, okay, we'll just get a zero for
$8 a round.
I really want that Sword International 338. Have you ever seen those?
No.
It's an AR platform semi-auto 338 Lapua.
Oh my goodness.
They call it the Mjolnir.
The Mjolnir?
Yeah, I want one of those, but they're
Thor's
like
hammer.
$10,000.
Holy cow.
I've got that 338 AR.
Or is it 300 Win Mag?
Is it 300 Win Mag? Or
think
300?
so.
Oh, yeah.
Because yours is
Never
the,
mind. Yeah, it is 300 Win Mag. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I got that wrong.
Is yours Nemo?
Yes, the Nemo.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a home defense gun. Go goose. Yeah. Everyone loses. When you're, did you have a 50 cal Barrett and that you never brought to missions?
We didn't have. You guys had better 50 cals than us. We had, well, I mean, it probably depends on what you wanted, but we actually had a Macmillan 50.
Oh, really?
And
TAC 50?
It was, I think so, and it was bolt action, but the only rounds they gave us for it was a Rofus round, which was like 4 MOA, like accuracy wise, but they've got.
We missed. Shoot again.
Well, the good news
They've
is
got explosive in the tip, so it's it packs a little bit of a punch, but it was so damn heavy that nobody would carry it.
yeah.
It's literally what happens. It's like you take it to one mission and then no one brings a 50 cal ever again to a mission. Like that thing sucked and did nothing more than I could have done.
Thing you were saying with initiating an ambush with an AT4.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've told the story before. It's like we're going out on missions. Like, remember the AT4 is lighter when you shoot it, so we'd initiate ambushes.
The one thing you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, very big no.
So,
like, fuck it.
and then you don't have to carry the extra weight back on it. Yeah.
See? Think smarter,
that
not
trick.
harder. Thank God no one knew about that at the time. You're like, missed. Okay, shoot everything else. War
makes the exfil a lot easier.
so much fucking easier. Now, are you a big movie guy? Are you like series?
Yeah, I like movies. I like series as well.
What kind? What's your jam?
Well, you guys were talking about Yellowstone. I really like that one. Actually, on the way here, I flew a Southwest flight, and they had a new Western that Kevin Costner was in that I watched like half of it. It was really good.
Whatever the new The Great American Story or something.
That
like
might have been it. I can't remember, but it was good.
I've heard of this.
Yeah,
It's like the thing that he apparently quit Yellowstone to make.
yeah.
Like the it's supposed to be like a
Is it a
3-hour
series?
epic or
It's
something, right?
It was 3 hours, and so I only got halfway through it. But just stuff like that. What about you guys? What do you like?
18. Well, I never watched Yellowstone. I watched 18. Was it 1873, 1878?
1883.
Yeah, the prequel they came out with after.
I like that one too.
Dude, that one. Chef's kiss. That I like sci-fi. I'm anime, movies, series, whatever. I'm huge anime. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I noticed
Scoot
a lot of the stuff on the wall.
Yeah, that's all Eli
He
shit
walked
over
in
there.
here. He's like, "Oh, these guys are a bunch of nerds."
No, I didn't think that.
He's like, "Hey, is it too late to cancel?" Hey, I had a thing come up. I just don't want to be here.
Got some Congress shit to do right now.
yeah. A lot of stuff.
It is hard. Like, animes is definitely, I know a majority of people are not into that. I'm like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
I was a nerd growing up. I'll keep that. In the military, I'd still watch it. People would be like, really?
Really?
Like,
You watch anime? Oh, I didn't know you were gay.
exactly. I'm like, sorry, but anything else. I do not picture you as a gamer.
No. Sometimes, it was funny. I love playing Call of Duty, but I never play it. But we played it overseas all the time, and it was hilarious because we would connect 15 or 16 Xboxes together, and we'd if we weren't operating, we'd play Xbox and we'd play
LAN
Call of
parties.
Duty. And the funny thing is, we'd play kids back in the States, and they would be beating whooping us and talking crap to us. And we're thinking, what if these kids know that they're beating a SEAL platoon right now? And
I'm gonna come back stateside and fuck your mom.
they had no idea, but it was fun. I love playing Call of Duty.
It's kind of funny if you're playing online. There's always some dude that's like, "Yeah, well, I'm a Navy SEAL," and it's like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure." It's like they're really playing like 16 of you guys at one time.
I really am.
They were.
I promise. I'm super serious. So on Call of Duty, that was actually something that happened to us recently. Is that AK-50 we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
The 50 cal AK that Gates was talking about.
Yeah.
Call of Duty stole that and put it in the game recently.
Are you serious?
In the last 3 months, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
They straight up ripped the gun. I was like, wait a minute. They did a new announcement for season 5 of Warzone. How do they do it now? And it is 1-to-1. It's my gun.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you son of a bitch.
That's pretty cool, dude.
It's got.
How does it perform? Have you used it?
I never got bad at Call of Duty because I don't play games like that anymore. Like it takes a lot to get me to play a game.
Right.
As I
but
have a
those
text
skills-
from Brandon last night playing.
I was playing Red Dead because you got me into fucking Red Dead 2. No spoilers. But
He's like, I got it. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, bro.
But it's like riding a bike where it's like I just want to be good enough that whenever my kids get into Call of Duty, get into that age, because it'll be on Call of Duty 24 by then.
Right.
That I can still beat their ass.
They can't just spank you.
Exactly. I want to be
How
the
old
cool
are your
dad.
kids?
I don't have kids yet, so
Okay.
working on it currently.
Okay,
but
cool.
I want to make sure I keep that skill sharp enough.
That's awesome.
But
Let them check them. That's why I beat all my
Yeah.
riding and my other kid. I'll lay
Put 'em
the
in their
smack
place.
down. I'm like, bro, you're never beating me in this. I will let you know that.
But the gun was pretty good. It was meta for a quick minute. So I'm like, all right, well, at least they made it good. If they made it shit, I would be very upset.
Yeah. You guys, how old are you guys?
I'm 37.
37?
28.
28?
39. I was like,
Took
wait.
you a second there. I know. Do you guys remember that game Tecmo Bowl?
Dude,
It's all-
who was Joe who was the dude who was broken?
Who was what?
There was a character that was broken in that. You could just
Oh, Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. That dude,
yeah.
that was you just pick that team. Bo Jackson.
It was funny because you're
God,
talking.
that was NES.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
old school.
Oh,
dude.
wow.
Nintendo.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you guys how old you were. But I remember being a kid, and my dad would play that game with us. And I remember the day I beat him, and he got super pissed off. That's gonna be you, dude, with your kids in Call of Duty.
Fucker.
Yeah.
Techno Bowl.
I said, don't quote the dark magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
Did your kiddos play, like your daughters? Are they into sports or any video game stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I try and remember the titles of them. Roadblocks or something. I don't know.
Roblox.
Wait,
It's Roblox.
Roblox,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, stuff like that. I don't really know what
Quick
it.
story on that.
You know Roblox, right? Watch. What would you reaction if your daughters did this? Cody, go.
My son, he's 15 now. Back when he was around 7, 8.
Yeah.
You can buy currency in the game called Robux on
Okay.
Roblox.
Yeah.
And I bought some for him one time. Bought him like $20 for a birthday or something. I was like, here you go crazy. I didn't wipe my credit card information off of it. So over the course of a year, my son siphoned $5,000 out of my PayPal account. Yeah.
Oh my god! Did you at least go check out what he had to show for it? Was like
Right.
in some like
That's-
epic castle.
That's
or
what
something?
we were joking about. It's
Bro,
like, dude,
hose
it's
is
like
what
this
he
dude,
had.
yeah, this dude probably has an aircraft carrier with like 10 hose on it. And
Just John Walker.
four
my
jets.
God.
Yeah, just bling all over him, dude. Gold chains.
I just like the story when you called your.
Oh yeah, he was. So it was the summertime, and he was staying with my mom out at her lake house, and I called, and I was like, "Put John on the phone." She's like, "Okay." He's like, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" I say, "Roblox," and he goes, "Ah!" And he drops the phone. He drops the phone, and my mom said he ran into his room and closed the door and locked it.
That's all you had to say.
Yeah.
He knew the call was coming at some point.
He knew it because I didn't notice it because like my PayPal account is where all my live stream donations go into, so I really just keep the money in there for a rainy day.
Yeah.
And he was taking out $1, $5, $10, and then I noticed it when there was like $200, $300. I was like, all right, there's
Wow.
a lot of money coming out of my PayPal account, and I traced it back to Roblox. Spent $5,000 on that game.
is
man.
hilarious. How many kids do you have, Cody?
Just him, just a
Just him.
15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
One of the best.
How's that going? 15-year-old boy. Is he out of control or is he
Nah,
pretty
he's
good?
good,
kid?
man. I've got him into like jiu-jitsu and
That's awesome.
like a lot of stuff to keep him straight.
I wish when I was growing up, like that was popular and like a thing. It really wasn't. Like I felt like right as I was getting out of like high school, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was coming online, but it makes me wish it was a thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
Great sport.
Dude, that is. You probably watch Pride and everything. You a big.
Oh yeah, UFC Pride.
Dude. My entire high school was me and my friends beating the shit. I did martial arts and boxing since I was young, so it was my garage that we had pads and we beat the shit out of each other.
Right.
All the time you come spar,
Yeah.
box, everything, and we just watch Pride, learn how to do moves. We're like, oh, what the fuck are they doing? Because again, that wasn't a thing at that
Right,
time.
right,
You're like,
right.
well, MMA didn't exist, or it was just becoming a thing. And then people would come over like, I know how to fight, and you beat out of other kids that knew how to fight,
Right.
and then have a blast. Are you big into martial
There's
arts?
no weight classes in the garage, by the way.
No way.
Yeah, no, I love watching it, man. I don't like compete or anything like that, but I did do jiu-jitsu for a long time, and then I started getting some pretty good back injuries in the service, and as I was getting out, I still did it a little bit, but started seeing some docs who were like, hey, maybe you should look at getting a fusion or something like that, and I was like, or you could kind of like, adjust, some of your lifestyle and some of the physical things you're doing. And so I decided to, chill out a little bit. But you know,
Who was
I miss it though.
who was that? It was a congressman or a senator. I can't remember. I think it was last year, but he was in a hearing with like a union boss,
I know who you're talking about.
and
Yeah.
he basically threatened to beat his ass. And the guy was just like, "Let's do it right here." And I looked into his background.
Yep.
And the guy, he was from like Missouri or something.
I know his name. I
I know who
can't
you're
place
talking
it.
about too.
I'm blanking on it, but he basically
Mullen.
Was it?
I think it.
He's
I
a
think
fighter.
I think he's from Oklahoma. or
He'd
something.
won like 3 BJJ like championships or something like that. Like the guy could fucking fight.
Yeah.
His scrapper. We had
Senator from Oklahoma.
Mullen, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
John Wayne Mullen. That's his name. Yeah.
Oh, you got names.
What a name, by the way.
Yeah.
John Wayne Mullen.
Yeah, Mullen told Teamsters President Sean O'Brien to stand your butt up.
Yeah.
Let's fucking throw down, bro.
I think it was
when you watch the video, the Teamster wasn't worried about it at all.
I think it was Bernie Sanders was like, gentlemen, like, chill out.
Right.
I'm like, no, Bernie, get the fuck out. Because I was in D.C. when it happened. I was
were
like across the street when it happened. I'm like, dude, I could have had front row seats to that. I would have been egging it on.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
Do you watch active? Are you still big into UFC and fighting?
I love it, dude. Love watching it. It's one of the only sports I watch anymore, dude. Like, I used to love watching football, and then once everybody started kneeling, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But it actually ended up being a good thing. It saved me a lot of time because I watched way too much football. So,
Now, are you big? Now, do you watch boxing or just MMA?
I watch
really?
boxing too. I like boxing and I like MMA.
Dude, we just last week's fight was
People.
Beevil and Better Beef.
Who won that? Because
Dude, Better Beef fucking won,
Are you serious?
bro. And that's what
Oh,
we
my
watched
goodness.
it. And now, Beevil had the better hits, cleaner, more hits, everything. But the one thing he did not do is like the last rounds he wasn't engaging as much. And Better Beef, dude's 100% knockout ratio. But this is the first time he's never knocked somebody out.
Wow.
He was chasing him down. Aggression is probably what won him the fight because he was just like,
I'd seen the previews and I'd been watching like highlights of Beevil and then
He's a fucking
but
sniper.
I didn't know that fight had taken place and I'm surprised Beevil lost.
same.
We watched it.
Yeah.
It was, even at the very end, it was like he was winning by points, and then suddenly he wasn't.
They went to a judge.
What's that little Ukrainian dude that's just like a little magician?
Yurik.
You're
Uvik. The world.
I'm talking about the little one, the smaller
Oh,
one.
you're talking about
What's his name?
Zelensky.
shit.
He magically transports billions of dollars from our coffers to his.
Right.
What?
He's
God
a
dang it.
magician, all right.
Oh my God, he is.
He's also Paddington.
this
I
dude.
can't think of his name, but
Magic. Like he had 300 amateur fights, lost one of 300, and then went pro. Lost one of his pro fights, dude. But
he was so good. People like several people he fought in a row just quit in the corner. They were just like, "That's it, man. I'm done."
dude, because he could fight with his hands down, and they would not hit him. It was
Kitchenko?
Lomachenko.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Vasily Lomachenko.
Yeah,
Dude
he
could
was
fight with
awesome.
his hands down. If you want to watch some of the most like mastercraft boxing, he'll go like this and then whop, hop, 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 move. And then he goes like, he looks at where they're punching to disgrace the other fighter.
Yeah, go watch some of the documentaries on Lomachenko. You'll be like, dude, it's unbelievable.
He's one of my dude. They call him Ultra Instincts. That's like the Dragon Ball anime, and they refer to that because it is a dude that doesn't have to put his hands up and he can just fight. And how athletic and his movement and being able to read your opponent to know where they're going to punch and why, and then step around it and then just taunt them afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
disgraceful.
Yeah.
Like shit, dude. We had Demetrius Johnson. We had
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
Mighty Mouse on.
Really?
Like 4 or 5 months ago.
Let's go, Mansko.
That's
Something
cool,
like
man.
that.
Really awesome guy.
Was he cool?
Oh yeah, he's cool as hell. We
Super down to earth.
He's a
took him and his
beast.
father-in-law out to the range.
Nice.
Yeah,
They had a
that was good
blast.
time. Yeah, they had a
Alan.
really good time.
Alan was an OG.
His father-in-law was just there for it.
Was he?
Yeah, wanted to shoot everything out at the range. He was awesome.
You like had to drag him off the range?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
He just brought out some of the World War II stuff, like the Thompson, the grease gun, stuff like that, and he was about it.
That's awesome, man.
And then we had him and Nick, Fat Electrician, had Mighty Mouse like teaching him some moves in the front. He's like, well, what do we do in this? Demetrius was like, oh, okay, so we do this.
That's cool. Didn't he go to Pride after UFC or something? Or what tournament did he go to after UFC?
He went to...
Was it one?
Maybe it was
one. I think it was one.
Yeah, he did pretty well, didn't he? Once he left UFC.
I'll be honest, I have no idea.
He dominated. You want to hear the most crazy part of his fucking career?
Yeah.
Homeboy was in the UFC fighting world champions.
Yep.
While being a server at goddamn
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
No kidding.
He didn't have
Still
a
had
trainer.
a day job.
What?
That's when his trainer was like, "Hey, you ready to take the series, champ? Like you're on the UFC world stage and you lost. If you actually didn't work at Red Lobster and had a full-time trainer."
I remember he was the guy counting the shrimp on the trays before they went out to tables.
That
at
is
Red
crazy.
Lobster.
I watched a documentary on him and it never said that. I'm surprised, dude.
Dude, he was talking about it all here, and we were like, I was like, "Oh, wait, you were a waiter and you didn't have a full-time trainer?" He's like, "No."
It never looked like that when you watched him fight, dude.
No, he's insane.
Looked like that's all he does, man.
And then after he became world champ, he'd still go home, like put up his fence, had to get painted. Like, I think he won his first. Like, what's the next thing you're gonna do? He's like, everyone says Disneyland. I had a fence to put. So he went home. He's like, I had to paint a fence.
Where does he live at?
Washington.
Really?
Yeah, him and his family. Cool. Him and his wife been together since they were young.
At Red Lobster.
Yeah, yeah, literally met him at Red Lobster.
That's awesome.
And now his kids are fighting. Dude, his story is crazy because the athletic level you have to be to do that, and to find out you had no
that's crazy.
He was driving. He would just do gym workouts.
Wow.
And then have his not a coach at the time, but just go to like classes, and he got to that caliber.
Wow.
When he had a coach, that is when he just became this. Everyone knows an unstoppable monster that was just dominating the UFC and whatever.
What was his weight class? Was like 125 or something?
Yeah, 125. He was flyweight flyweight, right?
I don't know. I know he's really small.
Featherweight? He wasn't feather?
Yeah, feather or fly. I always forget. Yeah, it was feather because then fly is under that. That's like 115 in boxing.
It's cool. I was watching something that said that UFC almost like got rid of that weight class or something for a while. But I love watching those guys. They're like little hummingbirds, dude. Like just the speed of them is like unbelievable, man. It's crazy.
So Pacquiao started.
It's almost like they don't ever gas either.
Right.
Yep.
No, Pacquiao started fly, and then went eight weight divisions and conquered all of them.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, you're like, okay, this dude's a monster to do all that. What?
They never gas. It's kind of like the guy with the same build that's outside the local 7-Eleven. It's crazy. Different reason, though. Never
a
gets
lot
tired.
of scratch marks.
Dude, he's been standing there for at least a day and a half.
Wow.
What are you gonna do after you get after Congress, after all of that? What's your next steps?
Yeah, I'd love to maybe get back into business a little bit, but spend some more time with my kids, and then I'd love to actually travel a little bit with my wife, maybe do a little ministry too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
How long you been doing that, or been dabbling in?
I don't know, man. Probably about 8-9 years, close to that.
What got you into it?
Other
than the book.
Yeah,
The book's a nice starting place.
Yeah, the book's a good starting point. You're like, well, I watched it on TV one time.
right. No, I was raised in in the faith, but as I got older, especially as I got out of the military, man, I was on the struggle bus a little bit. Had some pretty serious anger, rage issues. I went to a Christian men's retreat, which a friend invited me to. That he invited me for like 2 years. I didn't want to go because I thought it sounded pretty silly. Thought we'd be doing trust falls and stuff, and
Talking about synergy.
yeah. And it ended up being amazing, man. And so I was like, when you get something good like that, and you're not willing to share it with other people, I think it's pretty selfish. So. I wanted to get into men's ministry and just help other guys that, were going through some of the same things I was.
And what, like, you can I am all of us are very big on like opening up about like, hey, therapy.
Yep.
Getting better, especially when you have anger issues, PTSD, whatever your trials and tribulations are, everyone's going to have a different way of
Depression,
coping with
anxiety, everything that dudes go through that you can't talk about
Yeah.
in public perception.
And it's
100%, yeah.
making it more and normalizing it. And then my method's not going to work for some people. Your method's not going to work, but
100%.
it is still having those tools at your disposal.
For sure.
And it's like that's what helped you. What part of it did you gravitate towards that was different than regular therapy?
Yeah. Well, I think, just, I'm a Christian, and, just being raised in that faith, I think, if you read the story, the book, as you guys are referring to it, for me, it just makes life make a lot more sense. It really dives into the theme of good and evil, which I think I've seen so much of that. If you don't have a context to really a backdrop to understand that, I think it makes life really confusing. And so, I think that's what really the being able to understand the good and evil context of life is really what kind of turned me onto it.
What was the first thing that I actually that where it clicked, like for you, where you're like at that men's retreat where you're like, oh shit, I'm connecting with this?
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool, man. It was called Wild at Heart. Back in the day, it was called Ransom Heart. But the guy that started the ministry, he wrote a book called Wild at Heart. His name is John Eldridge. But it was really cool because here we are sitting here talking about movies. They actually used movies, some of the most epic movies, to kind of teach. And they'd show clips of Braveheart, they'd show clips of Fury, they'd show clips of Last of the Mohicans, and then they would tie it into the kind of the biblical narrative. And it was just, I felt like that was really appealing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's you're like, okay, this is for me. How long was the retreat for?
I think it was like a 3-day retreat.
Came back and your wife was like, yo, I like this new
Yeah,
person.
there was no trust falls. We didn't break out. No rattlesnakes or anything. Have you guys seen the movie The Campaign where he breaks out the rattlesnakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that during the campaign.
Yeah, I do every year, dude.
Yeah?
During the campaign, yeah. It's always fun. But yeah, man, it was cool because, speaking to my wife, that was one cool thing that, getting to come back and kind of take ownership of some of my failures as a husband and just be able to, apologize to her and be like, hey, I know I've let you down in, a couple areas, and, I want to be better. And up until that point, I felt like, instead of fighting for my wife, like I spent all my time fighting with my wife. And so it kind of, flipped the script a little bit and reset me a little bit. And so it was really cool.
It's opening up those level of comms you're not used to, and that's I think a lot of people struggle. If fucking business, friendships, any kind of relationship, you want to succeed, learn how to communicate. Small or big, that's what me and Sav's thing is, like small or big. Yep. Bring it up, talk about it
in a healthy way. Don't just yell.
Yeah, like communicate.
Right.
It's talking to me, talk with me, not like don't talk at me, talk to me. Yep. If you can do that, like these strides you can make in any relationship, and be open and honest. I swear to God, so many people struggle with like the hard conversations. If it's like awkward or anything, most people are like, I'm gonna just avoid this thing. I'll just give signs.
Right.
They'll read my mind. You're like, motherfucker, what are you doing? Stop winking at me. Like, move forward with it. And then,
if they're not listening, just yell, because then they'll hear you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'm not being heard. Better raise my voice.
You dumb. Oh, she's listening. Yeah. It's like, that never works ever. Right. And I guarantee she was super thankful. And then your kids learn from a positive relationship.
No, absolutely. So it was an awesome experience, but yeah, that was kind of the, kind of a turning point for me.
Tighter relationship too, I bet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the shit I love. I'm like, Makes me so happy.
No, me too, man. Especially when there's kids involved, you know, because so much of, you know, what they see and experience ends up, you know, following them through life and really forming who they end up being. So
Yeah. You have like that, was it nature versus nurture? You
Yeah.
do have some nurture, but like nature is also part of it. So
yeah.
I'm curious when you came to your family originally and said, you know, I'm thinking about running for Congress.
Yeah.
How was that conversation?
Well, it was kind of cool, man, because in the same faith-based theme, you know, and I told you guys I was putting in my resume with ministries, and that's what I thought I was going to get into. We took about 2 weeks and we prayed about it, and we talked to some mentors about it. Hey, what do you guys think? Is this the dumbest thing you've ever heard or what? And after about 2 weeks, my wife, who's the brakes in our relationship and I'm the gas, she actually kind of works out that way. But she said, hey, I'm surprised you haven't jumped at this opportunity. Normally you jump at opportunities like this or try and kick the door down. And
You're
I'm
just
like,
being a little cautious.
I was, and I was like, well, babe, I thought God was calling me into ministry. This is politics. This feels like 180 degrees. And she said something really cool to me. She's like, Eli, do you not think God could use you in Washington, D.C.? And I was like, Roger that. You know,
It's a good woman.
she is a good woman. And, you know, so she kind of, you know, she's been supportive of it the whole time. And that really helped with the kids. But I think my oldest was a little bit at first, you know, concerned with how much I'd be gone. And I definitely don't blame her. But yeah, so, you know, we told them and tried to explain to them why we thought it was important. And, you know, they've gotten on board. I actually asked them, I was driving them to school the other day, and I said, hey, I'm getting ready to run again. Are you guys cool with it? Or do you want me to, you know, quit doing this? And both of them were like, no, Dad, you're good. We're good. You know, like you're not that big of a deal. We don't miss you that bad. And they gave me a hard time because I give them a hard time all the time. But
The household shit talk.
no, yeah, and I told them, I was like, because I want you guys to understand, you guys are way more important to me than, you know, even this is really important to me, but you guys are even way more important to me. So if you guys want me to stop, like, I'm willing to do that, you know. So
Yeah.
just having that open line of communication, I think, is important.
Did they ever come see you in D.C.?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Do they
little,
enjoy it?
They do. My little one more than my older daughter, but I think part of it is when they come, usually they end up, you know, friends will come out as well, and my wife will end up giving them tours, and so my kids end up going on the same tours over and over and over again. So
Yeah.
they're kind of like, all right, this is getting a little old, but they like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat environment. It's the, what is it, you know, bring a parent work day kind of thing where
Yep.
you come in like, well, my dad's a firefighter. Well,
Yeah.
my dad works in the Capitol.
Yeah. No, it is cool. They like coming on the house floor. They like talking to people. You know, it's a cool experience. And I don't even know as a kid that you can fully appreciate it, but you know, I'm glad that I think my kids were on the floor with me during the speaker fight last January. And
That
they
was
were
a
just
wild
they
time.
were just sitting chilling with me on the floor. And you know, a couple times when I'd stand up and cast my vote, you know, my daughters would stand up with me, and you know, I don't think they realize the magnitude of that, but you know, it's going to be cool to be a part of their story, you know.
a lot of this, I mean, everyone's Cody, us, it's the kids, because it's the normalcy. They have no clue. It's when they get of adult age, they're like, oh shit, Dad
Yeah.
actually did some cool stuff.
I think John's finally at the age where he's starting to figure that out.
Yeah, my son, he's spoiled ass. I'm like, hey man, Chuck Liddell, I'm having lunch with Chuck Liddell today. You want to go? No, I've met Chuck.
Okay.
I'm like, Demetrius Johnson's going to be in town. Want to go to dinner with us? No, I'm fine.
The 50 cal on the top of the Humvee or whatever over at Oxy. Like, hey, John, you want to come up and shoot this full auto M2 50 cal? No, I did that last time.
Dude, I just want to read anime. It's like, dude, kids are like, they just want to do tap. It is the weirdest experience.
I probably would have killed a child with my hands at his age to be able to have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, right.
It's like, nah.
We take him to the range. You know, Brandon's got one of the rarest machine gun collections ever.
Right.
And he's shooting. You know, he's shooting like you say, shooting the mod dudes, and he's shooting all these super rare machine guns and stuff. And he's, you know, it's in his mind, this is probably normal. He's going to get out there and like his buddy's going to take him to the indoor shooting range. And really,
What is this? Yeah.
You want to come out, drive 45 minutes to shoot a 9mm handgun indoors for an hour? No.
Right. Dad, that sounds lame. I got anime to read. What the hell?
And that's the thing where it's kind of interesting where you're raising kids in a very irregular environment, because like we were talking about with John, his book.
Oh yeah, my 7 retarded uncles.
Because his uncles growing up are, me, Eli, Matt Best, just all sorts of just different.
Right.
Yeah. It's a non-regular environment because, he's raising.
Did you write a book?
No, I'm saying my son's going to write a tell-all book about my 7 retarded uncles, and he's going to be growing up around,
Idiots and degenerates.
degenerates.
It's gonna be a bestseller.
Yeah.
Can't wait to read it.
Can't wait to read it.
Eli, you're on your 5th book about your service as a Navy SEAL.
That's where we go. Yeah. What's the 6th book?
Yeah, I mean, well, I've got a lot of good stories. No, I haven't written a book. I'm actually working on a faith-based book right now, but it's not your typical SEAL book. But I'm hoping it's good for people. So we'll see.
Do you got a name yet?
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to say it.
Dang it.
Yeah.
We'll bleep it out. Beep. People, when's it releasing?
I don't know. I've actually tried to write the book a couple times and have been unsuccessful. So like a lot of my career, a lot of failure.
I don't even want to fucking hear it.
I know. You're like, I'm such a failure, says man that you combine, you get you.
Well, yeah, so
you guys do the little dance, put your thumb and fingers together, and he pops out.
Right. No, so yeah, I've tried to write it a couple times, haven't been successful, but we're gonna give it another go, man. I'm excited about it. So hopefully it helps some people out.
Where do we find your social medias and everything, brother?
Yeah, Rep Eli Crane is my official one. Eli Crane CEO is the unofficial, so people can find me there.
And you are a representative for Arizona District 2.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
You want to tell the people to go vote?
Yeah,
don't go vote, apparently.
Yeah, do not do it. No, absolutely, man. I mean, it's like I was looking at our primary numbers and talking to other members and looking at how many people voted in their primary. I think only like 35% of people voted in our primary. And so it's interesting because you hear people bitch and complain about the state of the country, yet they can't get off the couch and go vote, right? And so it's like if you can't participate, you're going to get exactly what you deserve, right? And so get out, go vote. I personally think this is a really, really important election.
Very much.
So I hope that all the people that watch this show feel the same way and get out there and actually do it.
And your vote really does matter. I mean, my race was 400 votes away.
That's
it was a
insane.
400 vote difference, and that's what really kind of chaps my ass when I'll go somewhere and people are like, "Hey, Brandon! Oh my God, it's so cool to run into you in person." In San Antonio, like, I didn't know you lived here, man. I'm like, well, I take it you didn't vote. Like that, 399 more, and we.
Right.
But
and what was the money? What was the money comparison between what was spent against you and what you were able to
against an incumbent? It was about 10-1.
Yeah.
So I think roughly when the dust settles, it was anywhere between 10 to 12 million spent against me.
Well.
Which is crazy because I think he was originally intending to spend 3 to win that race.
Yeah.
But YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think
Twitter,
he was quite prepared.
And Homelander.
Yeah.
Twitter.
I helped.
The chaotic.
I did my part.
I felt so bad for that dude on Twitter. I was like, dear God. I didn't feel bad. But just
not bad
watch.
enough to stop.
My morning routine was waking up and bullying Tony Gonzalez every morning.
That was your job, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was
free.
And it was a tough race. It was a really, it got pretty brutal there at the end, but I feel like a good message was sent. So I don't feel like it was a waste of time by any means.
Would you ever do it again?
Oh, it would probably cost me a lot personally.
Right.
Not financially. Personally, I think. Well, even just financially, I think I put in about 150 grand of my own money, not including opportunity cost.
Right.
Just cash infusion of the campaign, plus all the ads I missed out on, all the work I missed out on. But even just personally, it like kind of took a bit of a toll. But I don't know. I wouldn't rule anything out.
Yeah.
And I think even just the idea that I could do it again, because now I started the race with 4% name recognition in the district. Now I have 97%.
Wow.
Amongst voters. So it's like, all right, if I ran again, I've got way less legwork to do. And if I came within 1% last time, who knows? We'll see. But I think just even the idea I could do it again is enough to keep certain parties in line.
He's excited.
I want to see you do it, dude.
You don't want to bully people. Stop.
Stop it over there, Cody. Mean on the internet. I want to bully politicians and reporters.
His thumbs are starting to atrophy over there. He's not burning up
weak ass thumbs right now.
Well, if I feel like ruining my life for a second time, hopefully I see you on the House floor.
Yes, sir. You will. You will. And be good to see you up there, man.
Yeah, we need more people that are willing to fight the good fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Go vote.
Cody, close us out, you beautiful son of a bitch.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining the Unsubscribed podcast. I was joined today by Eli Double Tap, Congressman Eli Crane, not Congressman Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donald Operator. Thanks for joining.
We love you.